Whether you realize it or not, the stress on our body, the trauma on our body after loss, completely fries out our nervous system. This is why we suffer from extreme anxiety, stress, sleeplessness, and relentless brain churn. Not surprisingly, a lot of parents who've lost a child will go to their doctor and get a prescription for something to take the edge off or at least help them sleep. In this video, I'm sharing my top 10 ways to achieve some relief in a little more natural way as an alternative. Let's go. Number one, brisk walking or exercise. For me personally, this was my very first form of therapy, and I'm telling you, I walked a lot. I mean, a lot. The great thing about walking is it's pretty easy, pretty much anyone can do it, and it's even free. It increases the blood flow and the oxygen to the brain, and then the brain triggers serotonin and dopamine. And these are natural chemicals that calm you down and make you feel better. It gives you energy, and it even boosts the lymphatic system, which then flushes out a lot of the toxins that have flooded our system from all the stress we're in. Me personally, I love to put on some headphones, listen to some music, and zone out. Another thing I like to do is listen to audiobooks. I could walk all day if I get engrossed in an audiobook, and I feel so much better when I do it. Okay, number two, meditation. I got to tell you, this was not one for me, at least not in its traditional form. There was no way I was going to sit still and quiet my mind. That just was out of the realm of anything I could dream of doing. But I do think if you all have already had a practice of meditation and know how to meditate, certainly that would be a great thing to do after the loss. To me, that was not a good time to try and learn for the first time how to do meditation. But before you click away, I want you to know there's actually a second form of meditation that's called active meditation. And that I could do. Let me explain what active meditation is. It's doing an activity where you're actually present in the moment, but focusing on the thing at hand, whatever it is that you're doing. Actually, walking would fall into active meditation in certain circumstances. The thing about active meditation is anybody can do it. It could be gardening, it could be cooking, it could be housekeeping, it could be working a puzzle, anything that takes your mind into a single focus point is actually a form of meditation and gives you many of the benefits of meditation. This brings me to number three, creativity. Do something creative. Okay, this is actually a form of active meditation, but I made it its own point because it was so huge for me. About 3 months after I lost my daughter, I started painting. And something that I realized that while I was painting, all of the noise and pain and suffering I was going through faded away into the background. So much so that I started painting all the time. It was really my therapy. And I eventually even opened an art studio. And a few years later, I even produced a TV show called the Art for Healing Project. There has been a lot of clinical research correlating creative activities with improved healing markers in sick patients. Don't dismiss this if you're not necessarily that art inclined, because creativity is a very broad word. It doesn't have to be painting or drawing or sketching. It could be arts and crafts. It could be dancing. It could be playing an instrument. It could be learning how to play an instrument. It could be coloring. It could be a whole variety of things. Writing, all kinds, anything that is even remotely creative. And I just love this because it's also got a second layer of satisfaction when you create something Not only is the act of creating it so good for you, but it gives you this really great feeling of satisfaction when you're done. Okay, number 4, get out in nature if you possibly can. There is just something that is so healing from Mother Earth. You can combine this with number 1. If you could take a walk in a park through the forest, that's awesome. But even if you're just sitting on a bench somewhere, sit down, decompress, watch the birds or the butterflies or the squirrels, whatever your wildlife is. Disappear into their world for a little while. It's so calming. Now, I live in Florida, so obviously I can pretty much do that any time of year. I do understand in other climates, the dead of winter may cause a problem for this. But I do want to mention, I absolutely love YouTube channels, and there's hundreds of them that have nature sounds. Sometimes I'll listen to like rainforest and soft flute music or piano music, put on my headphones, close my eyes, and fall asleep to it. So nature sounds, for some reason, are just as soothing to me. Okay, let's keep going. Number 5, take naps. Okay, I know we're not little kids, and as grown-ups, we're very resistant to taking naps. I've got stuff to do. I can't take a nap in the middle of the afternoon. The truth is, you probably don't realize how utterly exhausted you are mentally and physically, and especially if you're not sleeping at night. Give yourself permission to lie down for a little while if you're exhausted. You can push through it, but you probably won't get anything done and you'll feel miserable. Just know and plan for that you might need a nap or two occasionally, and take it. You know, it's so interesting. Once you give yourself permission, it's not that big a deal. You can set a little timer on your phone and take a 20-minute power nap. It can really go a long way. If you're getting some benefit from this list, go ahead and subscribe to my channel. I put videos out like this every week, and it honestly really does help my channel, and I appreciate it. Number 6, cut back on screen time. I think we can all agree that social media has become a fire hose of overstimulation, and especially now more than ever since the appearance of reels and shorts. It's like they cram as much stimulation as they possibly can into 60 seconds. And as soon as that one's gone, the next one comes, and it's so jarring on your brain to go from thing to thing to thing. Your brain is not meant, honestly, a healthy brain is not really meant to work that way, but a brain that has been through so much stress. When you're grieving, you just need to tone that down. Now, they do recommend that you get rid of your screen a half an hour before bed, but frankly, I think when you're grieving, you could put a moratorium on it and it would really help. I mean, even if you just limited it to a very short amount of time, because it is just too overstimulating. Number 7, learn to say no, or at least give a qualified yes. And let me tell you what I mean. First of all, I think you know what I mean by no. But I do need to explain this because friends and family don't always really understand how exhausted and stressed out and overstimulated and how raw we are when we're grieving. And, you know, they'll invite you to things and not think anything of it. And some well meaning ones may try to coerce you to go because it'll be good for you to get out. Only you know what's good for you and not. And if it just feels like too much, just say no. You just have to say no. And if there's a situation where it's like an obligation, like somebody's wedding or a birthday party or an anniversary party, some big family event, a reunion, I don't know what, you might find that somebody's going to try to guilt you into going. And it's usually not the person hosting it, it's another immediate family member. And I hate to say it, but the truth is, They don't want the discomfort of having to explain why you aren't there. So instead, it's easier for them to just talk you in and drag you along. Don't do it. They do not understand how overwhelming a social gathering and event can be when you are just not up to it. Okay, so what I mean by qualifying yes. People ask you to do things, oh, come out and join us for lunch, do this, do that. And at the time you might think, yeah, that sounds good, I'll do that. But how many times do you wake up and you're having a bad day and suddenly you realize, oh my God, I cannot do that. I do not want to go to that thing. I got into the habit of telling people some days are better than others, some days are worse than others. So I'm going to say yes, but just want you to know that if I wake up and I'm having a really bad day, I might cancel at the last minute. So just understand that. But hopefully I'll be there. Number 8, disconnect. Disconnect with books or even TV. Who cares? Something that yanks you out of your misery for a little while, because what this does is it gives your body a chance to rest. It's like rebooting the computer. And you need a break from thinking. And we all know that that's kind of how this grief works. It follows you around 24/7. So disconnect. Take an hour and just get lost in a book or a movie or even binge watch on Netflix. Something that you love. You deserve it and you need it, and your body needs the rest. Number 9, enjoy the comfort of an animal. Yeah, animals are so comforting. I realize you might not have a pet right now, but a cat or a dog, I just love them. They're so soothing. They love you unconditionally. They ask for so little in return, and they don't jabber on about stuff you don't care about. They just sit quietly and calm you down. If you don't have a pet, maybe you should think about adopting one. This would be a great time to do that. And somewhere there is a pet living in a cage who also needs you as much as you need them. Number 10, volunteer. I know what you're thinking. I can hardly take care of myself. Like, I do not have the energy to go out and help other people. Like, this doesn't make any sense. But the truth is, it's actually a great activity for therapy. First of all, it gives your life a sense of purpose and meaning. Secondly, when you're in pain yourself, you're actually much more empathetic toward the pain of others. In your normal busy life, we don't pay attention. But when we're hurting, we can suddenly see the pain of other people and are actually much more compassionate than we might normally be. And thirdly, and honestly, in my opinion, most importantly, it could potentially give you a reality check. It kind of yank you out of the pity party you're having, because no matter how bad things are, there are always people who have it worse than us. Sometimes we need a little reminder. I remember me personally, I had just lost my daughter, and to me, nothing in the world was worse, and nobody could possibly understand it. And then I met a woman who had lost 3 children. Needless to say, that was my reality check. Give from the heart. It's really good for you, and it's actually great therapy. These are some of the things that I did that helped me through my grief. In the comments, let me know. I'd love to hear from you. Tell me the things that you did to help yourself calm down. In my next video, I'm going to talk about a couple of those cliches that I'm sure you've all heard. Time heals all wounds. This too shall pass. So I want to ask you a question. Does it? Watch here.